Hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Computer America Show. It's our all Linux show with our very special guest and correspondent Marcel Gagné is going to be here with us for both hours. He's got Linux news, wine, you name it. we're going to be talking about all the cool things that happen. So sit back, relax.
1 minute until showtime.
As we enjoy 2 hours of the Computer America Show on our all Linux program today. Okay.
Okay.
Oh, yay!
It's not doing anything.
Yeah, well, we gotta wait.
I know. Patience, dear boy. Patience.
25 seconds.
Eternity.
Exactly.
Where's the chat bar on the side?
It's that blue. It's the little blue one on the top. Probably on the top says chat. You see it?
I see a comment tracker. That's not it.
Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3,
Toolbox. The toolbox confuses me.
1.
Broadcasting live, it's America's longest-running national radio talk show on computers, Computer America, hosted by national columnist Craig Crossman. Look for Craig's weekly column in your favorite newspaper. This show is being beamed nationwide at ComputerAmerica.com. Keep it here for technology news, computer products, guest interviews, and your phone calls. You're listening to Computer America.
Hello and welcome into the Computer America Show. It's the nation's longest-running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers. Computer America. It is heard around the world and coast to coast. And I'm your host, Craig Crossman.
And I'm your co-host, Ben.
And it's our all Linux show today here on the Computer America Show. If you have any interest in Linux whatsoever, yes, this show is for you.
Who the heck are those people?
Yeah, they're around here somewhere. Of course, if you have a comment or a suggestion for our very special correspondent, Marcel Gagné, you give us a call at 347-884-8881. We'll get you on and get you to. Or just go to the top of any Computer America page and click the link there that says Submit a Question. It's on every page at ComputerAmerica.com. Just type in your question. After you click on it, on our submission on our question submission page, hit the submit button, and we'll see it immediately, and we'll get Marcel to answer it for you. We'll twist his arm. The other thing you can do is you can watch the Computer America Show again. Any page at ComputerAmerica.com. Just it says Show Lounge. Just click that, and you'll be able to You'll be joined with the show already in progress, or if you're doing it any other time, Monday through Friday from 3 to 5 p.m. Eastern Time, you'll see an archive of the broadcast. So that's all there. So without any further ado, let's get him on the show. Marcel Gagné is the author of several books, wow, including Moving to Linux, Kiss the Blue Screen of Death Goodbye, now in its second edition. Other books include Moving to Ubuntu Linux, and his newest title is Moving to Free Software. He was also a Linux Journal monthly columnist. His column was titled Cooking with Linux. Marcel was also a regular columnist for Linux Magazine, and he was senior editor and columnist for Ubuntu Magazine and a number of other magazine publications. So please welcome author and columnist and now Computer America correspondent Marcel Gagné to the show. Hey, Marcel, welcome into Computer America. How are you?
I'm doing great. Hello.
Happy
New Year.
Yeah, Happy
New Year.
I realize it's late in the month and you guys have already talked to a million other people at this point. But
Yeah.
It's the first time I chat with you guys since the beginning of the year, so Happy New Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year to you as well.
Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year to you. Yeah.
See, I thought Canadians were on a similar thing as the Chinese New Year, so I thought you were in the middle of it.
Nuts? Are you nuts?
Oh, you're not?
Ben,
Okay.
I just wrote something nasty to you in the chat window there, so you can pay attention to it. No, we're using the same calendar, and in fact, we switched to the Gregorian calendar here in Canada back in 14 or 15 or whatever the heck it was, 100 AD.
Does that mean Gregorian chants. Oh, ma di da da.
Oh, Monty Python. Oh, no, it's not Gregorian chants. Remember Monty Python and Holy Grail?
Of course. Oh,
I mean, if you don't have, if you don't know Monty Python, you don't have any geek cred. Okay, that's kind of the way it is.
classic.
But and you know that's true, don't you?
Yeah.
But in Monty Python and the Holy Grail, they had the monks who were going from town to town. You'd see them every once in a while. They'd be going, with the Bibles in their hands, smacking themselves in the head,
Right.
Domine donis requiem. They smack themselves in the head.
With a board, it looked like bomb.
Was it a board? Maybe it was
Yeah,
a board.
yeah.
Who the heck knows? I thought they were smacking themselves with their Bibles or something.
They were holy boards. They had crosses on them.
The holy boards, yes, the holy board of Antioch, like the holy hand grenade of
Right.
Antioch. Anyway, so yes. And Ben, I am serious. I did write you some nasty notes in the chat window. You should pay attention.
All that.
Yes. So no, actually, it's. I mean, there's an awful lot of snow out there. I've actually done a fair bit of shoveling in the last couple of days, and I'd rather not, not have to do it again. But it's -5 out there right now, which is actually warmer than that's -5 Celsius, by the way.
Oh.
So it's it's not quite that bad on your scale yet. Although remember, -40 is the same thing in Canada and in the United States. -40 is -40.
That's 40, that's true.
You realize, of course, that it is actually summertime in Australia, right?
Yep.
Yeah, you know that, right?
Mm.
Right.
Is there a song to that? There's
So I'm drinking Australian wine today. I'm drinking.
Damn! That's a stamp.
I'm drinking a Hardy's Shiraz Cabernet,
Uh-huh.
and it's nice. It's actually very nice.
It's a Cabernet Sauvignon?
No, actually, it's a Shiraz Cabernet.
The Shiraz Cabernet.
It's a Shiraz Cabernet, and it tastes just like summer.
Mhm.
So yes, it tastes just like summer. So it's
You can
actually
have it-
very.
You can have a taste of summer, is what you're saying.
You can have something that resembles it anyway. I don't know to what degree it all does, but anyway, it's so it's kind of nice. Actually, you were talking about Linux Journal when you started there. You said I was I did that. I did the cooking with Linux thing in Linux Journal for 10 years, and of course what I did there is I had a wine cellar. I kept talking about this amazing wine cellar. I had one of the best wine cellars in the entire world. In this virtual environment. As time went on, I actually described it as having multiple wings and different levels and stuff like that. And finding a particular bottle of something, was often quite the trip down to the cellar. So, so now, unfortunately, this is real life, and I only have so many bottles in my wine cellar. But there you go. I apologize for the sniffles again. I think I apologize for the sniffles like the last two.
You apologize.
Sorry. As soon as kids started school again, I was actually listening to a podcast yesterday where the person was going, "I'm really sorry. This last podcast, the last two podcasts, I keep sniffling and I keep telling you that my voice, sounds like I'm talking from inside a drum or whatever. It's the kids. I blame it on the kids. I blame it on the kids as well." How did you do it, Craig? Did you just go on the air and say I apologize?
No, I missed the Germinator formative years. I came in after all of that. They were already.
Yeah.
You did. That would have been, on reflection, that would have actually been probably a smart thing to do.
Yeah, everybody I tell says, oh, you missed all that stuff. Yeah, I said I got them with the good months. After they were in late high school, getting ready to go to college. That's when I came in on the scene, and so I missed all.
Well, lucky you.
That's what I keep hearing.
Lucky you. All right. Hey, listen. Just before I jump into Linux news and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You gotta see, I'm for anybody out there. Like, I can't believe there was somebody out there. I mean, Star Wars now has made Star Wars: The Force Awakens is what, 1.4 or 1.7 billion dollars, or
It's a lot.
an insane amount like that.
Yeah, it's really
So if you haven't seen it yet, I'm not going to do any spoilers. But if you haven't seen it yet, like, who are you?
You're talking to one at least.
Really?
Yeah.
You actually haven't seen it yet?
Like at this point, I feel embarrassed that I can't walk up to the teller and say, "Can I get a ticket for Star Wars?" Like, they'd laugh at me. It's like, what? Like, I'm.
I haven't seen the video. I still haven't seen the video.
just lie. Lie and say
style.
this is your 14th time that you've gone to see it. That's it.
Of course, this isn't my first time, baby. Don't worry about it.
So you've seen it 14 times. I saw the original Star Wars. Yes, I was old enough to see the original Star Wars. I was a teenager at the time, And I saw it, and I swear, I counted over the course of the summertime or whatever the heck it was. I watched it at the theater 85 times.
80.
Wow.
You beat me. I didn't watch that many times, but I went back a number of times and saw it again because I thought it was just terrific.
Well, it was like nothing we'd ever seen before in the sense
Yeah.
that not only were the special effects amazing, but it was a completely new way of making movies. They developed new technology to make this possible. They developed new computer systems. They developed new tracking systems. They developed a brand new type of camera that had never existed before. They developed a new technique for tracking model, animation. All stuff that had never existed before. So in a sense, I mean, we're kind of jaded nowadays, although frankly, I mean, there's still some pretty cool stuff on the screen, let's be honest.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're faced with like a brand new technology that you've never seen before, that is quite literally changing the world that you live in. It's you stand up and you take notice, and I don't feel all that crazy about having seen the movie that many times back in the day for I think precisely that reason. It was something I'd never seen before. But jumping ahead, so what did you think? You saw it, right?
Well, I have not seen it. Well, I have not.
You're talking to the only two people who have not seen it. So
both of neither. I think you guys were joking or something.
No, we
no.
haven't. I plan to get out there and see it, but I still haven't seen it yet, and hopefully before. Even the drive-in now has it. So, well, that was your Star Wars story. My Star Wars story is that again, it was back '78 or something when it came out, and it was like the 12th time that I gone seen it, and I always looked to my left, and the person that was sitting next to me was Princess Leia. She actually,
yes,
that was her. It was not someone made up to be, and so we talked a little bit, and I tried to pick.
You were in love.
I was in love, yeah, and I tried to invite her to go to the Magic Castle, and that was a good hook because she had not been to the Magic Castle, which is this big club out in Hollywood that I was a member of, and so she gave me the name of her agent, to call her, just in case I was a psycho or something, and I understood that, and then I called, and nothing ever happened of it. But hey, what the heck,
Aw, you were young once. That's so good to know.
How did I'm young, handsome, and Craig Crossman come onto a weird magic funhouse? How did that not work with the ladies?
No, she knew about the magic. Actually, it was quite prestigious. She knew about it and had wanted to go. But hey, that was it. She had other things to do. So
you see, Carrie Fisher, you could have had all this.
Well, there you go.
That was. I mean, she was cheering the movie, and she was really into it. When the things happened, she was very into it. So
she didn't stand up and spoil it right in the middle.
No, she had never seen the entire movie. She was there. She explained to me. Say, I had actually never sat down and saw the entire movie, so she wanted to see it. So that was my luck.
So it was almost like Project Paperclip.
Huh?
Where they had all the scientists building the nukes, and actually Paperclip was bringing the people over. Whichever one was the nuke, but never mind. It flew right over everyone's head. I don't know why I'm going to explain that.
I have no idea either, because I have no idea what Project Paperclip is either. So.
Paperclip is technically where we brought the German the German rocket scientists over after World War II to the U.S. to work on our rocket program. But I was referring to one where we built. Is that actually what it was
called? Project Paperclip, really?
Yep.
Really?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
But the one I was referring to was the part where we build the nukes, and no one knew what they were doing, but everyone had their own little part, and there were 1,000 different parts.
Yep.
And everyone thought they knew what was happening, but no one really knew when you put the whole thing together what was going to happen. And it's kind of like the movie, I don't know.
Cool.
So.
I'm sorry. I know I'm coughing. I'm sorry. I apologize. Every month lately, it seems that we talk about yet another micro Linux distribution, micro Linux box.
Mm-hmm.
Linux box. Should we jump in the news just for fun?
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, Absolutely. I mean, we have 2 hours to talk about Linux, and
I just thought, we're talking about movies. Okay, one more thing. Have you
yeah.
guys watched Person of Interest? Speaking of computers,
Yes, I love that TV series. I know it's in hiatus. It hasn't
I'm
started.
actually watching it on Netflix. Like I watch everything in the world.
Yeah, I'm watching it, and it's coming out again shortly. And no spoilers, but the girl that she was gone for the entire season. She was actually pregnant, and so
Are
she.
we talking about Root?
Yeah, not Root. The Israeli.
Oh, her. Yes, 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 yes.
Yeah, she comes back this season. She was off for the last season because she.
Well, I'm not that far ahead. I'm in season 2 somewhere.
Oh no, you're still in the early days of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm in the early days. And sadly, I actually know that a couple of terrible things happened. I've been trying to figure out where the hell Fusco is at this moment, and he sort of is it? Am I at the beginning of the 3rd season or?
Busco's still around. I mean, but it's. I don't want any spoilers, but we do lose one of the key characters.
Yeah, I know. I don't. I'm gonna cry. I'm gonna cry. Did you? Okay, so we had the little tiny Raspberry Pi computer.
Yes.
Which was very cool. All right. Very cool. You could get the thing for like $35 or something like that, a little bit more if you're willing to, invest in a slightly bigger processor, or if you wanted to have, additional abilities and so forth. So there's yet another one out there that I discovered. I haven't ordered it yet, but damn, I'm tempted. Actually, there are 2 of them that I'm tempted about, and I'll tell you about the other one in a minute. Okay. But this one is called the Pine A64. And I just gave, and if you take a look in your list there, you'll see the link to the Kickstarter.
Yeah.
The Kickstarter has they're so beyond their goal. I mean, they have a goal of, $31,000 was their goal, and they're up to $1.3 million.
Yeah.
What
Okay.
am I? Looks like a Macintosh breadboard or something. What is this?
Interesting. Actually, the picture of the Macintosh breadboard is because one of the guys behind it is actually the guy who built the breadboards for the original Macintosh. So he was working with Jobs and company, and Wozniak, basically building the damn boards by hand, building the breadboards.
Oh, there it is now. I see the.
Yeah, so there's a little. So if you go to the site, there's a little video. I mean, you cannot.
It looks a lot like a girl announcer too. It's got the A64 chip. Yeah, exactly. Okay.
Yeah. This is like a hefty little. This is a hefty little system. This Pine A64. It's got a quad-core processor, 64-bit, 1.2 gigahertz processor. Gigabit Ethernet. You can. The initial release doesn't have the 4.0 USB, but that's planned for it as well. And if you, for the people out there that always want to know what you get when you pledge, when you pledge big money, well, in the case of this one, if you pledge, I think it's like $60 or something like that, $59 or $64. Where is it? $59. You actually get the computer, and you get you get the screen, you get basically everything. You get the operating system, the card, the board. There it is, $59 or more. It's like this amazing little can do everything sort of computer. I'm trying to figure out where this is going. I've been sort of watching this for a while, and as you know, I went out and I got myself a Raspberry Pi, and I went and got myself a couple of other things. And I'm seriously thinking of plunking down some money for this one as well. There's another one out there called something Panda. I'm trying to remember what it is, but it's the same sort of idea. It's this little tiny computer on a board, and it's part of the maker culture. That we can build whatever the heck it is we want, but. That's an awful lot of people and an awful lot of interest in supporting these technologies, these little tiny computer systems that you can build to whatever you want. And I've been given an awful lot of thought lately about where this is going. Now, this is just like one aspect of what's happening. So you've got these little tiny computers that can do whatever it is you want them to do. I mean, you'll boot it up with Linux, and then you've got a home security system. This one will control your A10. Is it A10 or Zen10? A10 devices.
A10.
you know, the home automation
Right.
modules.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's going to work with the home automation modules, so you can extend it that way. Um, you know, or you can make a home entertainment system, you know, DVR, PVR, like basically your own version of a Roku, without the limitations of something like a Roku. Don't get me wrong, a Roku is a, you know, is a cool little device. I mean, I've got one here. I've also got a Chromecast. You know, I've got these things as well because
Which
frankly,
Chromecast? Which Chromecast do you have? I have the older one. They came out with the newer one. Do you have the newer one?
I do not. I have the older one as
Yeah,
well.
so, what is the newer one? The newer one just gives it some additional abilities. It looks like a little round circle now, as opposed to the.
Yeah, it's a little bit different. I don't know whether I understand the resolution can actually be a little bit higher on it. I mean, I could go take a look at it. I don't remember off the top of my head, but I just have the old one. And to be honest,
I wasn't motivated to get the new one because I didn't see anything newer. You know, I spent $35 on it, and it still does amazing stuff.
yeah,
You know, I'm
yeah.
happy. Yeah. Mhm.
Well, I feel the same way. I mean, I've got it there for the few times that I can't use. The way that we kind of watch TV around here is I have a PS3 downstairs. I have a Roku upstairs. Also got a Wii, you know, for gaming as well. But the PS3 gives me access to basically all the services that I want. The Roku, of course, is the upstairs. Like I said, is the upstairs box. And again, I mean, I've got access to Netflix and all the things that I use on a regular basis. So the only time that I even use the Chromecast is when, for whatever reason, it's something that I can't push through my PS3 or my Roku. Um, and otherwise, it kind of sits idle most of the time. It's cool. I
Yeah.
occasionally use it for gaming, like I'll sit there with my son and we'll play, you know, we'll play a game on a tablet together with the great big screen sitting in front of us. So we'll fire up a game of Minecraft. I know you want to talk about Minecraft at some point here, but
Right.
but we'll fire up Minecraft. We'll be playing a game together, and we'll use the Chromecast for that. But beyond that, you know, I don't know what the newer one does, and I don't know that I actually need to get one at this point.
Got it. Okay. All right.
I don't
So,
have a 4K set, so you know that's certainly not something that you know I'm worried or thinking about at the moment. So
yeah, that was our newest acquisition. We didn't get the Chromecast, but we just got a 4K TV.
If you keep an eye out there, and yes, Black Friday is gone, all that kind of stuff, but if you keep an eye out, 4K television sets are actually very affordable nowadays.
Yeah, we spent a little bit over what $500 for a 50-inch 4K television from Vizio. So that was an amazing bargain.
okay, I just want to point out that I'm still bitter. Okay.
Oh yeah, you have the Canada tax.
No, it's not even that. It's not even that. I can deal with that.
You get free health care. What are you complaining about?
Exactly. I can deal with that. What I'm bitter about is like, and I know it's been 4 years now, but I bought a Sony Bravia 40-inch TV. Okay.
Yeah.
You know where this is going, don't you? It cost me almost $4,000.
Oh, oh,
Okay.
Ouch.
Now this is, I don't know, it's like 4.5 years ago or whatever, and then the prices start to tumble about a year later, and I mean tumble, and tumble to the point that last year I bought another set downstairs. I bought one for the basement, so I could either escape the kids or the kids could escape us, one or the other, and like every once in a while you want to escape the kids, you know what I'm saying? But we bought the set, and that was like, at the time it was like $600, and then at Christmas. Okay, I'm walking through my grocery store, the freaking grocery store, and there's a stack of 32-inch smart TVs, okay, for $150.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but poof, mind blown. Like
Did you get one?
no, I didn't even know what I was going to do with it. What am I going to do with this damn thing? I don't have I suppose my son, speaking of getting rid of the kids, I could have put it in my son's room, but like, get one for each of my sons and put it in their room and then have them disappear forever. Send up their meals to their beds,
Right.
and otherwise never have to communicate with my family ever again. Other than that.
So I guess 4.5 years ago, a smart TV was brand spanking new. I mean, 4 years ago, that must have been.
No, but it
Yeah.
wasn't a smart TV 4.5 years ago.
So
Okay, smart TVs
what
have been
was
around for about a
the
year and a
price
half
for?
now.
What was it?
They're a relatively new invention. Everybody pauses for a moment to let the other person talk, and it's got like a dead air.
Right. No, but what was the $4,000 price tag for? 40 inch
It was
television.
it was a 1080p, not 1080i, 1080p set, um, with one HDMI port.
So, gee,
you know, it
primitive,
had,
primitive.
primitive, man. But
Okay.
that was 4.5, 5 years ago. I mean, 4.5. I think it's about 4.5 years. But damn.
Yeah.
I saw those. I went to the Museum of Natural History. They had that rendition of the caveman, and they had one of those up on the cave wall.
It's like I've only got an old Sony Bravia instead of.
Uh,
I'm still a little bit bitter. How did we get down this anyway? We were
I
talking
don't
about
know.
the
He
mini
took the bitter
computer.
road. Instead of the high
Oh,
road,
set-top boxes, smart TVs, set-top boxes. That's it. Which, by the way, all run Linux. Just so that you all know that out there.
Mhm.
There's so I'm trying to figure out where some of this is going, because there was another. Now, this isn't specifically Linux related, although it is kind of open source related. There was an article a few days ago, and I bookmarked it. I'll try and find it for you, Ben, here. And it was about 3D printers and the patent system. As you know, Linux has been has fought its own share of patent battles over the last few last few years, by people who got upset about the idea that, hey, you've got an open source product and you're giving it away. Somebody should be making lots of money on this, and it should be us.
Mhm.
So of course we had lots of patent wars, and trying to prove that basically try and kill Linux by proving that it had stolen intellectual property. So we get the patent lawyers involved,
Mhm.
and we know that that turned out rather well for the Linux, and not so well for the people who are fighting in the other court. Um, but um, but I do kind of wonder about that. So we've got like roll your own hardware. We've got people that are creating custom hardware, and I realize it's not everybody, but it's the sort of people that listen to your show. They're the people that like to get their hands dirty, that love new tech, that like to experiment with things, and so forth. So you get these little super Linux computers on a board. You've got these which can be turned to pretty much anything you want them to do. We've got these 3D printers with like a huge, massive library of downloadable, fully open plans to
Mhm.
print off whatever the heck it is you want.
Yeah.
Okay? So the article that I'm thinking about, and I really do want to find this because I'd like to be able to share it. I'll look for it a little bit later, maybe at the break or something. But the idea is that this is another thorn in the side of the patent system. So I'm sort of wondering where this is all going. I mean, you've got cheap home 3D printers, you've got cheap hardware that you can turn to, anything that you want to do whatsoever. We're living in an age of robots, and in fact, I've got my robot companion here. As here, I'll bring him in front of the screen there. But you remember my robot companion here?
Yes,
You
exactly.
remember this guy? Yeah,
Yeah.
Milo. Remember Milo? Hello, Milo. Everybody say hello to Milo.
Hi,
You have to say hello. Say hello.
Hi,
Ben, say hello to
Milo.
Milo, and Craig, say hello to Milo.
Hi,
Hello, Milo.
Milo.
Hello, Milo.
Yeah, my. There we go.
Hello, Milo.
Well, okay. All right. He's being very quiet right now. See, I'd set up a script for him, and I didn't do it right. See, that's what happens when you don't,
You missed the go-to 10 line. How could you?
Yeah, go to 10.
Yeah, well, Oh well. Oh well. Anyway, I digress. Where was I going? Right. So cheap computers. Anyway, which brings us over to another thing. So we've got like these, we've got the Linux thermostats, the Linux smart TVs, the Linux mini computers that can do whatever it is you want. You've got Android systems out there. I got a cool Android story coming up shortly. And you've got, basically Linux everywhere, which brings us to, my next little story by my buddy Stephen J. Von Nichols. And I know that you've got the link there for it, Ben. Linux and open source have won. Get over it. And of course, that gets us into the Linux desktop. And but Linux is everywhere, and people are still talking about his perception is partly based on the idea that people are still talking about the battles against Linux and open source, and we'll get into Microsoft in a moment there, and what people are, the diehards out there that still think that there's some war against Linux going on, and it's kind of hard to be downtrodden. You can almost there's almost a parallel to your political situation down in the U.S. at the moment. It's hard to claim that you're the downtrodden when you are basically in charge of the world.
Fair
It's
enough.
like everybody's trying to beat us down. It's like the war on this, the war on that, and so certain politicians in the U.S. I won't name names at the moment.
Oh, there's only one that's
There's only one that really comes to mind at the moment. It's like, we're fighting to get back on top. Dude, you are on top. It's like, what the hell do you want? I want to rule the world. Yes, Mr. Goldfinger. Anyway, but yeah, so that was one of the other ones that I was following this last month. Is with all these devices and so forth that are coming out there, and this incredible proliferation of Linux-powered devices, Linux-powered everything, including Android, obviously. It's kind of hard to continue arguing that you're the downtrodden, that you're the beat up upon. And I kind of recommend this article by, like I said, by my buddy Stephen J. Vaughn, for the people out there that are looking at this. Incidentally, I'm doing this show today on I actually have a couple of computers here. I've got my Nexus tablet here. I've got my Fedora desktop running over here.
Yeah.
So going back and forth between all the various things, and of course the thing that I'm actually using to talk on at the moment is my little Acer Chromebook, my little 11-inch Acer Chromebook.
And you know what? We'll continue on. We're at the bottom of the hour break. We're talking to Marcel Gagné. It's our all Linux show here on today's program. 347-884-8881. We got another news test poll review coming up as well. This is the Computer America Show. We will be right back.
Sometimes disaster strikes. Data can be lost due to many different reasons. Accidental reformatting, power spikes, virus attacks. Zero Assumption Recovery provides a suite of highly effective and thorough data recovery software for Windows operating systems. ZA is suitable for home users and small businesses who need a powerful data recovery solution for Windows and Linux file systems.
Go to z-a-recovery.com.
Sometimes disaster strikes. Data can be lost due to many different reasons. Accidental reformatting, power spikes, virus attacks. Zero Assumption Recovery provides a suite of highly effective and thorough data recovery software for Windows operating systems. ZA is suitable for home users and small businesses who need a powerful data recovery solution for Windows and Linux file systems.
Go to z-a-recovery.com.
Hi, this is Craig Crossman, host of the Computer America Show. You have important meetings to schedule. Your company's getting ready for its IPO, and you're in charge of the PTA fundraiser this month. So how do you coordinate everyone to be available at the same time? Are you still using emails, phone calls, even text messages to schedule meetings with a group of people? How's that working out for you? That's so great, huh? It's a fact that every day, millions of people suffer from scheduling headaches. Well, with Doodle, scheduling meetings with a group of people is quick and easy. With Doodle, you can easily propose available times to each member. Each one checks off the times that they're available, and then you simply pick the time that works best for the group, all in an easy-to-read display that integrates with your existing calendar. Nothing could be more simple. Give Doodle a try for free, and like millions of Doodle users, you'll truly see how easy it is to find the perfect date and time for all your meetings. That's www.doodle.com.
You can't tell pork sausage from a groundhog. Hi, Marty Winston with the News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America. This time the Eco-V3 thermostat. One of the prettier ones out there, both in terms of its panel and its interface, and it's got a pretty good brain behind it. It comes with a companion remote. Both connect over Wi-Fi. Both can read both temperature and motion in the room. The main unit's got the user interface and can give you local weather. You can set it up over the web or its app to either average the temperature settings of the two units or to follow me and have activity indicate which one should set the thermostat. Or if it sees that both have no activity, it reads that as nobody home and relaxes the readings. So bottom line, an ecobee3 Wi-Fi connected smart thermostat and its remote sensor companion offers opportunities to both add to comfort and subtract from energy bills. Marty Winston, News Tips Bulletin for Computer America.
Welcome back to the Computer America Show. I'm your co-host Ben Crossman, and we are doing the entire show based around Linux, as is the norm for our Thursdays, with Marcel Gagné. And we are just getting into the news stories after a lovely little discussion about movies and the whatnot. Marcel brought this to our attention, this article from ZDNet about how Linux and open source have won. And before we let you get back on your train of thought there, if you can remember where we got off, I have a question. I mean, open source, obviously, very popular, and this article does a good job of showing just how prevalent it is in our everyday lives. I mean, what we do today would not be possible without open source software, and Linux is of course a part of that. But I mean, this war that you guys are talking about, I don't know. It's obviously not a war. I mean, I've never heard of someone killing someone else in the name of open source. But do they? I mean, on the open source side, do they think that all code, that all programming should be open source? Like nothing should be hidden, proprietary, blah blah blah?
That's actually an awesome question. Yes, no.
Well, that was a definitive response.
There you go. That's kind of it. No, seriously. There's let's just drop back for a second to the ever popular definition of free. In the Linux and open source world, there's a real delineation in terms of what we call free. Okay, there's free as in beer, and the idea is that you're at a party, somebody comes up to you and hands you a beer, and and it's free, and you've got a free beer. You drink your beer, and life is good, and the person moves on, and nobody actually really cares. I don't know, maybe you're beholden to that person, maybe you're not, but the point is the beer was free. You've got a free beer in your hand. And free software can be like that as well. In other words, you've got something that you can just download, and it's free. And then this free as in freedom. Free as in freedom is you're not bound by a specific set of rules. You're not bound by an agreement or a license that says that this is what you must do because I gave you a free beer. It's like I gave you a free beer, but now you have to paint my fence and wash my car for 3 weeks. It's like, well, that suddenly becomes a very expensive beer.
Right.
Read the end user license agreement, please, before you click OK. Did you read it? Yes, it said OK. But free as in freedom in the Linux and open source community means that you are free to modify whatever it is that you're working on and return it back to the community. So when you say, do they believe that everything should be open and free, it's kind of an ideal to work towards. There's this idea that first of all, there's no such thing as working in a vacuum. It's like, I mean, you can point to Apple and Microsoft and so forth, and any of these big companies. And the fact of the matter is, they all stood on the shoulders of giants. They all stood on the shoulders of someone who came before them, someone who created operating systems before they created operating systems, somebody who created programming languages before they created programming languages, somebody who created the first computer hardware, the first logic systems, the first transistor, the first method of moving information from one place to the other, the first loom, if you want to go back far enough, the first programmable piece of hardware that made it possible for you to create, a beautiful carpet, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Now, so the argument somehow that somebody can then come forward and say, oh, I've got a great product, I'm going to lock it down with patents and with lawyers and charge you an absolute fortune for it and so forth, that flies in the face of some of the purists out there. And what they're basically saying is, look, dude, it's not like you came up with all this stuff. Why is it you want credit for, putting out this product, but you're not willing to give credit? And that credit in this case could mean both, putting out the person's name,
Yeah.
Mhm.
you know, saying this is the person who came up with it originally. But credit can also be, you're not willing to give the person who wrote this stuff money, but you want money for the stuff that you built based on their stuff. So it's kind of a big ideological thing in the sense that um, if you want to come right down to it, nobody builds anything in a vacuum. Nobody comes up with something that is, it's almost impossible to imagine somebody building something from scratch and then claiming that yes, I am the only author of this thing.
Mhm. Has there been anything in the history of humankind that fits that qualification that you might know of?
No, no. I mean, every human achievement builds on. I mean, I suppose every once in a while you could say, hey, somebody had a eureka moment, and they said, oh, I've just imagined a way of doing this in a way that no one else has ever thought of doing it before. And
Yeah.
maybe that's true, except that for you to imagine doing this thing in a different way, you had to have understood that it was done another way. Okay, so no matter what, you still built, on the shoulders of someone who came before you.
So if somebody invents a teleportation machine, you can't say that they were the father of teleportation because they still use transistors and chips and all these things to put this machine together to make it do what it does.
No, and that's where it gets a little bit fuzzy. Yes, teleportation would be incredibly awesome, but the fact is that person wouldn't be able to build a teleportation device without building on the knowledge of physics that's been acquired over this course of centuries. The technology of computers that make it possible to do the massive calculations necessary to figure out where every single atom would be at any given moment, to be able to reassemble it on the other end, that sort of thing.
Okay.
So
Nothing
yeah,
original. Nothing is original. Everything we do, nothing is original. We borrow.
well,
we
there are
can't trace it.
extensions.
We can't just trace everything back to that one stupid amoeba that had a mutation and decided to go 2 cells instead of 1 cell. We can't trace everything back to that guy or woman. I don't know whatever a single cell thing is, but yeah.
Okay. So.
Well, I'll let you go with the amoeba. How's that? Amoebas have been around an awfully long time. Like
I'm just saying, at some point you got to give someone credit to put it all together.
But it's not a question of not giving credit. It's a question that somebody comes along and says, I am the sole master, the sole brain that came up with this particular thing. It's like, no, you're not. It's, we don't mind you making money, okay? We don't mind you reselling your product and putting it out there. There's a difference between, to the people in the open source community, it's not free as in for nothing. Okay, that's not what gets them. Okay, the purists out there, who cares whether you charge money for it? And in fact, the licensing, the famous GPL license, quite says specifically, you are allowed to charge money for this. Okay, but if you make changes to it, you must put those changes back into the community, and you must give credit where credit is due. All right? It doesn't say that you can't make money. It doesn't say that you can't build a $1 billion business on this or more. Red Hat is, I mean, I don't know what they're up to now, but they're well over, I mean, they're more than $1 billion business. They're a huge business. They make lots of money. They hire an awful lot of people. They pour an awful lot back into the community, but they respect the rules of the open source product on which they build. Okay, and to go back to your initial question there, Ben, it's not that they want everything to be free, it's that they want credit given where credit is due. And yes, you can be this amazing person who came up with this incredibly new way of doing something, but if you're using somebody else's work to build on top of, the person who helped you get to where you are should get some credit as well.
Makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense.
It's again, it's an ideological discussion. I get that, but it's it can be important as well.
Okay. Feel better.
Well, and you know that like yes, it's an ideological difference, and of course at the end of the day, it's you know, people don't want to share their code. They want to think that they did, you know, if they change this and this, if they change enough, then it's theirs completely wholly, and if you even read it, then you know you're a bad person. But I guess
And unfortunately, sometimes it's written that way. Like if I find a deep security bug in your code and I fix it, I'm guilty of all sorts of terrible crimes.
right. But I guess going off this article, just as a growing platform, open source seems to just be a better way to expand. I mean, you know, that's what Android does. That's what all, you know, that's what I think what we owe a lot of this expanding technology to is the idea of open source. So regardless of, I guess this is where the war of, you know, you can say one is better than the other, but it seems like either way, open source is just better for growing communities.
Open source is a better way of doing things. One of the things I pay an awful lot of attention to, I mention Flipboard every once in a while, and in fact, I've got the link there to my Cooking with Linux magazine on Flipboard, where I see and you can post that one. But flipboard.com/@WFTL. /cooking with Linux, and my Cooking with Linux magazine is there. Now I post stories there that are of interest to me, and to things that I think other people will be interested in both Linux and open source. I try to keep it up to as whenever I see something interesting that I think other people might be interested in, I share it there, and I have I think there are couple thousand people following this thing. I mean, it's an interesting little collection of stories. So I'm kind of curating the stories, if you will. I mean, that's kind of what Flipboard is about. But I recently just started another one called Rise of the Robots, and I'm as you know, I'm fascinated with robotics as well, and not the least of which pretty much every robot out there runs on some flavor of Linux. And of course, the great artificial intelligence designs that are out there. Last month, I think we talked about the idea that Google has just open sourced its deep learning engine. Now, there are many nightmare scenarios that have been written about artificial intelligence, and artificial intelligence is one of those places. First of all, I'll come clean. I'm not sure that I believe that there will be a truly sentient machine anytime soon.
No?
Coming clean on that.
Really?
That's a safe bet. That's a safe bet.
You think so? What about you, Craig?
You mean your Roomba isn't sentient?
No. But seriously, what do you think? What do you think?
Sure. Come on, Craig, pull on that massive knowledge of TV and movies.
Define soon.
500 years.
Oh, gosh, yeah. Come on, 500 years we're going to have that.
I'm not so sure. There's a difference between, and I guess you have to sort of decide what a human being is. Is a human being just a complicated machine responding to things firing back and forth? And I don't want to, I'm not getting into the whole soul thing here. I mean, I'm just talking about the idea, how do we process information versus how does a machine process information? What Google does, when you sit there and you say, okay, Google, and it runs off and gets whatever information, should I bring an umbrella tomorrow? Well, actually, should I shovel my driveway tomorrow? But when you do that, what's happening isn't intelligence per se. It's massive, massive number crunching on a scale that, was unthinkable 5 years ago.
Well, you're describing what they did with Big Blue. That they finally got to the point where it would defeat any grandmaster.
Yes.
But it wasn't. It really didn't count because it wasn't playing chess the way a grandmaster plays chess. It was just doing brute force.
Yeah, but I'm not saying it didn't count. It still won.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's still, but it wasn't doing it the way a human thinks.
Right, exactly. But if you asked Deep Blue at that exact moment while it was playing chess or something like that, what did you think of The Force Awakens last night?
Yeah.
It wouldn't have a freaking clue.
No.
It doesn't know what you're talking about. If you say, I was I came home and my dog barked for 15 minutes when I got home. What do you think was happening? You know, it wouldn't even know to say, I have no idea what you're talking about. Like, I mean, it's not able to go beyond what it's programmed for.
Right.
Whereas we make weird, intuitive, and strange leaps on a regular basis. I could be totally out to lunch on this, and I accept that that's the case. I mean, it wouldn't be the first time in my life I've been out to lunch on a variety of things. So this may well be the case.
But
But
like I know that we're going to get around to the Luddite Awards, but my idea of AI, I think, does come from a quote from one of these gentlemen, and it might have been Elon Musk, but they're talking about robots and sentience and that kind of thing in AI, and I heard someone say something about the fact that AI won't be, all someone codes the right series of zeros and ones, and all of a sudden your toaster is alive. Like, there's not going to be a one, instant where it becomes alive.
obviously,
But
Yeah.
they're saying that over a certain amount of time, computers are going to get to the point where they can process all the information that we do with all the senses that we do with even more senses than we do, and know how to accomplish tasks in a very, very complicated way.
But it won't be like we do. It
But
won't-
it will never be like we do because it's
and-
not a person.
and-
But it will be almost indistinguishable because
well,
it will
and,
do
and
the
yes,
same
and
thing.
yes, that's a big question. Indistinguishable versus is it actually really thinking
Right.
is something that's going to keep the philosophers busy for a heck of a long time.
Well, I mean, you go way back. I mean, I watched again the movie, The Imitation Game, which was with the story of Alan
Right.
Turing. And they asked him that question. I mean, the police officer, when he was being investigated, asked him, like, can machines ever think? And his answer was quite succinct and insightful. He said, that they would, but never like, not like we do.
Yes.
Know.
Yes.
So, great movie, by the way. If you haven't seen that, you should see that movie, The Imitation Game.
Have you seen Ex Machina?
Yes, I saw Ex Machina too. Yeah.
Yeah.
But but that's against sci-fi, whereas The Imitation Game is a
Yes,
real.
yes, I realize that. Now,
Yeah.
I mean, the famous Turing test has already been won. Okay.
Wow.
There was a Turing prize, the Turing prize,
Yeah.
which was, I mean, it has evaded people for decades.
I hadn't heard that it had been won.
Oh yeah, it was won a few years ago, like 2 years
Yeah,
ago.
I heard about that, but like they were like mad because like it fooled a majority of the judges, but they fooled it by pretending to be a foreigner who couldn't speak good English.
Yeah, but
English well.
But,
Holy
but
crap!
okay, I'm sorry about that, but if you're talking to somebody who doesn't speak English very well, are you going to look at them and say, "I think you might be a machine because you obviously obviously speak English with a heavy accent"? Oh, come on.
Yeah. But was it broad enough? Because the idea is that you can talk. I mean, there've been knowledge systems where they'll talk to a computer and you can't. As long as you stick to the same subject of the knowledge system, that doesn't pass the Turing test. It can be, so what did you have for breakfast today? It could be, what did you think of this? Or it has to be on virtually any topic, and so it has to be more diverse. I don't. Was that test? Did that pass that particular thing?
Right now, there are things out there. It's like, should there be rules as to how we treat robots?
Yeah.
Okay. Beyond just the fact that my buddy Milo here is expensive. Beyond and I wouldn't want to take a hammer to him because he costs a lot of money. Beyond that, should I be able to mistreat my robotic helpers? Okay. There's a company called Alderaan Robotics, which was just bought by somebody else recently. I'm not going to go there right now, but they have a robot called Pepper, which has been selling in Japan like crazy. And Pepper is billed as an emotional robot. Pepper can actually recognize facial expressions. It can tell if you're feeling happy or sad. And if you're feeling sad, it will respond by, trying to tell you jokes or coming to give you a hug or that sort of thing. It quite literally responds to, or it actually does respond to your emotional state. And in Japan, it's being bought up because, of course, to take care partly of an aging population.
Mm-hmm.
And people respond to these things as though they're alive. I don't know about you, but and I mean, and I know I know what these things are, and I know how they work. And despite everything that I've just said there about, just being this, incredible, heavy-duty, super-fast number crunching and so forth, I know that every once in a while when I talk to, my computerized assistant on my tablet, and it tells me something, I'll say thank you, and then of course it says, "You're welcome, Marcel." One of the ones I've got on my Android tablet here is called Assistant.ai. It's from a company called. If you go to Assistant.ai, I believe is actually the website. And yes, the darn thing is Linux powered. Isn't everything?
When I say thank you to Siri, it says it is I that should be thanking you. I always
Well,
wonder-
yeah, but it has a variety of responses. Is the point? Okay.
Exactly.
So Assistant.ai, you can make your assistant look, a variety of different ways. You can change hair color, you can make it male, female, have a different voice, that sort of stuff. I play with this one because it's a lot of fun. It has a bit of a personality, and I quite like it. It's an Android version. I also use Google, obviously, the Google Now stuff. But Google Now, while it's probably, in my opinion, the most powerful one at the moment, it's probably the most powerful, the most useful one at the moment. If you actually want to just have fun and have stupid little discussions, Remember Eliza?
Oh my gosh, yes, of course.
Okay, Eliza. Let's go back in time to Eliza. Eliza had like a 1,000 lines of code or something.
That was it. Yeah, MIT had what was his name? The professor who wrote it in BASIC. It was 1,000 lines.
I actually wrote an article on Eliza.
I have that on my computer somewhere. I actually still have it someplace.
Yeah, I've got it as well. And in fact, I wrote an article which covers a variety of our artificial intelligence type programs that you could load up on your Linux system and play with.
I feel bad when I have a video game that I haven't played in like 3 months on my computer still.
Yeah.
You have that? Oh.
You know what No, but that's exactly it. The point is that regardless of whether I believe that we're talking about true artificial intelligence or not, okay, and we're going to have to come back around to this point because I think we're digressing way off here. People nonetheless perceive that it's real. Okay, they'll start treating the robot as though it's an actual member of the family. You'll start talking to your digital assistant on your phone. You'll say please, you'll say thank you. You'll address it by name.
I think that's part of that's because we want it to be, So we.
Oh, I don't deny that.
Yeah, we sort of want it in the back. I mean, I don't have to say thank you to Siri, but I say it because it's almost like I wanted to respond and say something clever, and I might hear her say something clever that I haven't heard before.
I will say that when I saw that one, it was like a payload delivery robot, and it walked on 4 legs, and it was kind of like a dog, and it's supposed to travel, and like the guy came up and kicked it just to show that the software could correct for any kind of sudden movements. It was like, oh, I feel so bad for that robot. How could they do that?
But you know what? You're not the only one. People reacted to that with revulsion.
Yeah.
No, seriously, people reacted to that like, what are you doing, kicking it? That's terrible. And of course, the researchers, when it was shown, are sitting there going, it's just a machine.
Yeah, it'd be like kicking your toaster. It's like, what? Why is that such a big deal?
Yeah, and nobody's going to get uptight about you kicking a toaster. We know that that's true, but the point is, it moves. It has lifelike motions.
Yes.
And we're going to superimpose that on the machine, whether we like it or not.
We anthropomorphize. I don't know if it was a dog anthropomorphize, but we're assigning it human or a creature that has feelings. We tend to do that.
Do you guys have pets? Either of you guys have pets?
Yes. 5 dogs. Yeah, exactly.
I have 2 cats, and I talk to them.
Yeah.
Like I know they don't speak English. I get that. But they respond to your voice.
Yes, they respond to your voice, exactly. And animals do have emotions and feelings. They really do, so.
Oh, of course they do. They absolutely do. And if something, whether something has those feelings, I mean, I truly believe that they do. I mean, they play, they get upset, they're hurt.
Absolutely.
If you've been away for a while, they get upset at the idea. It's like, where the heck have you been for the last 4 hours? I've been sitting here by myself. It's like, damn you.
Oh, no. You're true. And you can hurt their feelings,
Yes, you can.
I had to give the Jasmine some medication that was good for her, and for the next day she was like hurt. She wouldn't come over to me. Nothing. She just, how could you do that to me? It was that type of thing. She finally forgave me, thank goodness.
And then some people, if you say that animals have higher level thinking, they'd say, "What? No, I don't believe that at all." But I mean, people who have pets and kind of have spent extended periods of time with them, they know how smart these things can be. But
yeah,
I feel like that is a digression from robots, though, because robots are just the programming that you put into them.
They are, but people perceive them differently. And,
Right.
and here's the thing, okay? They've been programmed to react to us in specific ways, okay? And now you've got, and this is where we're going to come back to open source in a moment here. So now you've got these things that may or may not truly have intelligence. Okay?
Well, wait a minute.
I kind of, sorry, go ahead.
Well, here's the thing. We're running out of time, but I want you to follow up with that idea. But the other thing is that in answer to your question, do you think they will? I know neural nets were supposed to be the big thing at the time, and the idea here is that the neural net itself would create its own pathways and interlinks, sort of like what our brains are, because it patterns after our brains. And I think that if we can get a sophisticated robot with a sophisticated neural net system, we won't understand how it's putting all these things together, and in that process maybe will come forth sentience. That's, I think, something along those lines. It won't be line for line code. It's going to put together its own pathways and networks together and become sentient. I think maybe that is the way that we would come to that point. That's my belief anyway. Comment? Suggestion?
And we're all entitled to our wrong opinion.
I don't know.
By the way, because what I have to say to that is going to take more than the 30 seconds that we've got.
Okay, all right.
I just want to point out that I just pasted in the chat window there the link to the article that I wrote on in my cookingwithlinux.com about Eliza.
Okay. Okay.
And by the way, the guy was Professor Joseph Weizenbaum.
Yes,
at MIT.
that's it. Yeah, Weizenbaum. Yeah, and I still have his program. Exactly.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and Eliza was named after the character in George Bernard Shaw's Pygmalion.
Yes, it is. All right, we're going to take a short break, and then we'll continue this. You're listening to our All Linux show with our special guest, Linux correspondent Marcel Gagné. We're going to be right back in just a moment. Really, I promise. This is Computer America.
Broadcasting live. It's the only national radio talk show on computers to air every weeknight. Computer America. Hosted by national columnist Craig Crossman. The first hour's behind us, but there's still more of tech news, tech talk, and your phone calls. We're being beamed nationwide at ComputerAmerica.com. You got computer problems? Bring them on. You're listening to Computer America. Computers run the world, and we run computers. Call us or send us an email to live@computeramerica.com.
Hello and welcome into Hour 2 of the nation's longest-running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers. This is the Computer America Show, and it is truly sentient. And I'm your host, Craig Crossman.
I hope it's not sentient. And I'm your co-host, Ben, who is partially sentient.
Who is sentient? Ben is really not is not just a computer program. He actually is sentient.
It's a form of Max Headroom.
That's what he wants us to. That's what he wants us to believe, anyway.
The long con, yes.
Yes.
But yeah, we are doing, of course, our All Linux show. Marcel Gagné, our Linux correspondent, and we're kind of all over the road, which is fine because it all kind of ties into Linux anyway. And
well, when Linux is everywhere, it's kind of hard to avoid it. You know what I'm saying?
That's true. So I just answered Marcel's question about sentience and artificial intelligence, and my response was that it may be in the form of some sort of neural network where we don't understand. It's not a line-by-line thing. You can't break it down. You can't figure out what the connections are. It just, like I said, makes them, and then in that complexity will come sentience. And Marcel, you said you had a response to that.
Well, whether or not these things actually have sentience is another matter. Because, again, I don't know whether it's going to happen in 5 years or 10 years or even 500 years, to be perfectly honest. But if you've got something that so beautifully mimics, responses to us in communication and so forth, whether or not it's actually real, go out there and take a look. Digression here. Go out there and take a look at a video on YouTube. It's the Philip K. Dick robot.
Okay.
Okay, and somebody, Ben, go do that. I know, I know you're
Oh,
the master of looking for this stuff. The Philip K. Dick robot. They built this basically hugely, incredibly well animated face that looks like Philip K. Dick's,
I
doing it right
remember
through
that
pulling.
movie,
So it's kind of
or a documentary.
yeah, it's kind of perfect anyway. So they built this face and they sat down and had a conversation with it. And this thing basically has, there it is. And if you take a look at the back of its head, there's like all these gears and things and so forth, that are moving around that mimic the character's face. It's incredibly well done. But when they're having a conversation with it, it's basically to create its responses. It's connected to the internet, and it just goes out there and it says, okay, this is an interesting phrase. How will I respond to this interesting phrase? And it looks at 5,000 possible responses, assembles them, bases them on how many people have used these things in conversation and what might actually be funny under the circumstances here.
Wow.
And one of the questions they ask is, what are you going to do when AIs take over the world? And well, when I put you in my human zoo, and then the robot smiles. Okay. Now, I don't know about you, but despite the chilling aspect of that response, and please, people, if you're out there, if you're out there and you've got, you're gonna go look at the show notes and so forth, you must go and watch this thing. Okay. It's funny. It's actually kind of impressive how good it is. And of course, that one comment is kind of chilling. When I put you in my human zoo, I promise to take good care of you.
But somebody told him to say. I mean, that was a program.
Obviously.
It didn't do that on its own.
Obviously.
Yes.
Obviously.
Right.
But the point is, it was able to sample, like I said, however many thousands of phrases and possible responses, and come up with something that the software reasoned would be a great response to whatever the question was that was provided it. And because the response was so good, okay, our reaction to it is as though some living thing had actually said that. It doesn't matter that it's not real. It doesn't matter that it's just an engine crunching numbers and so forth. And in that respect, going back to Ben asking, should everything be open source? See, I'm not losing my mind. I actually remember what the initial question was, despite the fact that it was 25 minutes ago now, or however long ago it was. Despite that, it is entirely possible that we create an artificial intelligence engine that is running on a program that is designed for it to figure out what is the optimal thing that I should be doing to achieve my programming goals, whatever they are. Okay? That doesn't mean it's thinking. Okay? What it means is it's running an incredibly complex program with ridiculous amounts of processing power, and really that's why Deep Blue won, okay? Because it was able to see 5,067 billion moves ahead,
Right.
versus the chess master's amazing 100. But because the engine is nevertheless able to extrapolate on its basic programming, it is possible for it to have developed a level of artificial intelligence. And I'll use that term in particular because if it's truly intelligent, it's no longer artificial. Okay?
Natural.
It's an intelligence.
Natural.
All right?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. That's what
Yeah.
we.
So then we've got this program that is able to, that's able to extrapolate in its programming and maybe come up with things that we don't want it to come up with. All right, which could be bad for us. Right? Maybe it decides that the machine is extremely important. Maybe there's something programmed into it that says this machine is really important to the future of the human race. And it decides based on that if the machine is damaged in some way, it would be bad for the human race. So what I'm going to do is make sure that the machine can never again be touched by a human being.
Yeah, now you're getting into you get into Terminator realms here,
Terminator, Colossus, the Foreman Project. I mean,
I love that. That was good.
that was an awesome movie. By the way, read that book recently about 10 years ago. Still holds up. It's fantastic.
Yeah. That really was it was way ahead of its time, and the movie was outstanding too.
Yes, it was.
Yeah. But and so many movies have dealt with this topic because look, it's an interesting topic. You don't have to be a huge scientist to understand the premises that are being put forth.
Well, there's a thing that I think that we're trying to work our way around too, is that even huge scientists are getting in trouble for thinking about this, or at least getting odd awards for thinking about this.
Yes, they are.
Weren't we going to talk about the Luddite Awards and how...
Go ahead. You do the Luddite Awards, and I'll come back to why open source matters on this.
I just saw on your list of topics that you want to talk about. I think that was your list of topics.
Well, the thing with the open source and artificial intelligence is this. One of the reasons I'm sure that you've got Elon Musk and the Google guys and other people saying that artificial intelligence is potentially a threat.
Yeah.
Is not necessarily based on the idea that suddenly you've got an intelligent machine that decides, hey, I am the next step in human evolution, or I am the next step in evolution, and I must get rid of what came before me. Ha 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 ha. It's nothing like that. It's what if something goes wrong? Okay. What if something like I listened to an interview on the radio a few weeks ago with a mathematician. It was on CBC Radio up here, and the mathematician was mentioning that machines are currently creating mathematics that no human can understand.
No.
Yeah. Okay.
That's dangerous territory.
It is.
If it's creating math and things that we don't understand, that is a precursor to
to what? But that's just it. That's the big question. To what?
Yeah.
One of the science fiction themes that used to come along and when I was younger was what happens when the machines do everything and no one knows how to fix the machines. What happens when they break down?
Yeah, exactly.
And that's part of the here in Waterloo at the moment. We've got the Year of Code going on. I think I mentioned that last time. The Year of Code they've got a whole bunch of training sessions, seminars open to the public, all sorts of things. The whole point of it is to try to, I mean, it's a huge goal, and and I don't believe that it's obviously going to happen, but I don't know how many people they will reach in the end. But the idea is to actually get everyone in the community, every person who's old enough and knowledgeable enough, to actually be able to, at the very least, do a little bit of coding, to actually understand the magic behind, with the magic behind all these devices, because it looks like magic. I mean, the thing talks to you. You say, hello Siri, or or my I give you assistant.ai. Mine's named Janu. I say hello Janu, and she says hello Marcel. And it's conversational.
But what is this math that it's being created that we don't understand?
I'm not a mathematician, okay, but as was explained to me many years ago, math geeks, like I'm talking real math geeks, the kinds of mathematicians who write, who write the code basically, who create the algorithms that run Wall Street, that sort of thing. They are creating mathematical. They're creating basically abstract mathematics. They're creating things that frankly go beyond x times y divided by z and that sort of thing. They're outside of that scope. They're beyond anything that you and I actually understand. And now they've created machines that go beyond even that. Okay, so the machines are to be able to answer problems, to be able to create different algorithms, to be able to create different forms of encryption, for instance, or whatever. They're creating mathematics that the creators don't understand.
And what if they get to the point where one of those algorithms doesn't work?
Well, yes, that's the problem. That's one of the problems. What happens if you don't know what's going on? So one of the arguments for open sourcing all artificial intelligence development, or artificial intelligence development in general, is this: if we have no knowledge whatsoever, if there's only one company and and a small priesthood within that company, I'll use that term, priesthood within the company, is jealously guarding the source code and the information behind it. When something goes wrong and the artificial intelligence is busy, screwing up power stations, nuclear reactors, air traffic control systems, that sort of thing, are all being messed up. If there's nobody that has access to the source code, if there's nobody, if we allow only a small group of people, or if we allow the machine to do it on its own, then when something goes wrong, there's no way to fix it. And the argument in the open source, one of the arguments in the open source world, because let's face, open source is what has created the world we're in a big way. Every time you try to close down technology, you're actually getting in the way of progress. You're not helping.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I say that to the big companies out there that engage in that. You're not helping. You're not making things any better. You think you're helping. Maybe you're helping your stockholders, or the people who invested money in your company, but you're not helping the world. You're not helping in general. And same thing for people who are devising drugs and so forth. Lots of eyeballs will catch things that you don't catch. Okay? Mm-hmm. You're one person looking at it. Crowdsource the knowledge. Open source the knowledge. Let other people be able to take a look at it. And when you've got something as important and as potentially dangerous as, a massive, and I'm going to say artificial again here, because is it intelligence? I don't know, but let's call it artificial in this case. If you don't know how it works, and something terrible happens, it would be nice to catch the problems before they happen, and that's where open source comes in.
Yeah, there's a huge can of worms out there that's what all these minds are saying, that they're where the danger lies, and we have to be careful. And I don't know if we're going to be able to do that, Marcel. I mean, because we want progress, and there's such a demand for it, and we want this, we want that, and how do you carefully progress?
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with you. But I think that it behooves us to be careful.
Yeah, it's so weird that we have to think about how to be careful when up to this point we've I'm sure in the next couple of decades, like we're talking about kind of a little more into the future stuff, but up until this point it's always been, how do we make a faster horse and buggy? How do we make a faster computer? How do we make a faster this? How do we make a more efficient this? How do we make a smaller this? Like, it's always how to make things better, but we've never had to where it's like, are our cell phones too small? Are they a choking hazard now? Like, that was like the worst we had.
Yeah, but somewhere along the way too, we've had things like we built an atomic bomb and we killed a couple 100,000 people with it. We poisoned people in a chemical processing plant in Bhopal. A few thousand people who died from the noxious chemicals that came from there.
But at least we knew what happened.
But that's the point. We knew what was going to happen after it happened. Okay.
Yeah. But
there wasn't enough oversight, and because there wasn't enough oversight, disaster struck.
Yeah, but the point is, we're going to take it to the next level. If something bad happens, and we won't know how it happened because we don't understand the process in the first place.
Exactly. So what we should have is we should open the process. We should get as many eyeballs looking at it as possible, so that there is a possibility of saying, okay, just recent. I mean, we talked about the fact that there were these people who came up with this chunk of code to basically install ransomware on some Linux systems, and then you had the Linux good guys out there who would patch the systems that were weakened to basically make it so the ransomware didn't work, and then they'd up the ante, and then somebody else would up the ante. And it's gone back and forth several times. The good guys are still winning at this moment. But the fact of the matter is, it keeps going back and forth. And one of the reasons the good guys are winning is because there are so many eyeballs looking at it.
There are more of them than the bad guys.
Yeah. Yeah. And as long as that's the case, we stand a chance.
But what if
sorry.
What if there are more bad guys than good guys?
Well, the history of the world. If you only need You only need a few bad guys with some really, really, really big bombs or guns to
Okay.
make things bad. Okay,
Uh,
but eyeballs. I'm I'm a huge proponent of surveillance. I get that there are cameras watching us everywhere. I get that Big Brother is watching.
that's where you like person of interest.
I do, I do. But one of the things, I also love the show that was called Leverage before that.
Yeah.
Sometimes, where the tagline was sometimes the best good guy is a bad guy or something like that. I love Robin Hood stories. What can I tell you? But I'm okay with the idea. I'm actually totally okay with the idea that we're being spied on, that the NSA is listening to I get it. And I had a friend over the holidays who is a real Luddite. You want to talk Luddites, Ben?
Yeah.
This guy does not own a smartphone. This guy is not on Facebook. He isn't on any social networks because he values his privacy. And of course, I'm giving him the argument: you have no privacy. Anything you think you have is artificial. If somebody wants to listen, he said, well, in my home, I've got privacy. No, you don't. I can install a high-speed camera outside your window.
Why do you have to tear down this gentleman's sense of security? Why do you have to rip his blanket from him?
Because it's a false sense of security.
It's a false sense of security. It's BS, okay? I mean, I can record the motion of his houseplants and then translate the motion of his houseplants back into the conversations that were happening in the house. You have no privacy. If somebody wants to listen in on you, they are bloody well going to listen in on you. If someone wants to record you, they're bloody well going to record you. I'm sorry.
Yeah. They have they bounce a laser off your window and it's the vibration and they're just they can
exactly
put a bug in your house. They can just listen to.
Yeah, you don't have to do that anymore. You can do it from across the street, like you said, with the laser bouncing back into a record. The point is that I'm not saying that that's a good thing, okay? But pretending that it's not real, okay, by saying, oh well, I just won't have a cell phone or I won't have a smartphone. I made a joke. I said I took out my smartphone and I said I just did an update to Facebook. I said I've got that guy here who isn't on Facebook, and everybody's going cool.
But
I was making fun of him and I was destroying his sense of security.
And were you successful? I mean, did he finally realize that none of this was effective, and so basically
he's fighting it. He's really fighting it.
Still fighting it. Okay.
Yeah, he's still fighting it. But boy, we've really digressed today. But no, this is all, believe it or not, this is all about open source and open information and so forth. But I believe in surveillance. I love the fact that you've got people out there with smartphones and they see some, I mean, this is, I'm sorry, I'm picking on your American, newscasts here, but that you've got somebody that sees some cop pulling somebody over and beating the snot out of them for no good reason whatsoever, and you've got 10 smartphones recording the action.
Yeah, that's true.
Sure, it doesn't help the guy who's being beat up or the woman who's being beat up at that moment, but all of a sudden the watchers are being watched as well. And you know what? I would rather live in a world where that surveillance goes both ways, surveillance, than to try to pretend that there's some magic privacy button that I can turn on and off. I'd rather live with that knowledge and do something about it and make sure that they can only get away with so much. They.
Not to get into police brutality or anything like that, but it's always funny to see. I remember one where it was cops were arresting someone, and someone else was standing about 10 feet away filming the whole thing, which should be illegal, but whatever. The cop turned around and tried to take their phone from them and confiscate it as evidence. But the video that we were watching of that whole incident came from another person who was filming it from across the street.
Yes.
So it was like a camera from a camera perspective.
Yes.
Stopping, and maybe that's a good thing because it keeps the checks and balances. Police officers can't perform autonomously now, and do what they want to do because chances are someone's watching.
What is that phrase? Sunlight is the best disinfectant.
That's a great phrase. There's a book by a great guy, a fantastic author, and frankly a great guy as well. David Brin wrote a book years ago. Now he's upped the ante on this 1,000 times. So with many other books since then. But and he has the Something Society. The Something Society. Come on, Marcel, think about it. Anyway, but he wrote a book called Earth way back when, and I was taken by that book at the time, partly because he described a world where there were cameras everywhere. There were people watching constantly. People had glasses with with little recording devices on them, shades of Google Glass all those years ago. But now everybody walks around with a smartphone, except my buddy who's over at Christmas. Everybody walks around with a smartphone, and Twitter has a program. Maybe you guys know it off the top of your head. I can't bring the name to my head, but that basically transmits while it's on. Okay. So it streams. So you start this product by Twitter. I believe it's by Twitter. I could be wrong.
Are you thinking of like a Meerkat?
Meerkat is one of them, but I don't think that one is.
Periscope.
Periscope. Thank you.
Periscope. There we go.
Thank you. Good man, Ben.
He is. He's on the fly.
He's awesome.
He is.
Awesome. He is. Anyway, Periscope. Periscope will do that. You basically open it up and you start streaming. Okay? So the idea now that you have to worry about finishing the recording before somebody takes the phone away from you, it doesn't even matter. You just turn it on, you start streaming, and I'm sorry, dude, but this is going to the net right now.
Yeah.
And I don't see that as a bad thing.
Yeah, Periscope live streaming. Did we have them on the show? We
had Meerkat on the show. That's why they were the first one who came to mind. But Periscope does the same thing.
Yeah, and the idea is that okay, take my phone, but up to that moment, it's already up. It's in the cloud. You can't stop it. There's no way. It's there.
Exactly. And at that point where they take away your phone, you've got that last little bit of video that shows it. That shows your phone being taken away. It's like, dude.
And chances are somebody across the street is filming that.
Yeah, exactly. And I love that. I think that's wonderful. Lots of eyeballs. I mean, security. And that's true that's true in computer code, and it's true in daily life and so forth. The real security is lots of eyeballs, lots of people looking at it, lots of people talking to. It's one of the things that's happening today is somebody gets a diagnosis, and that may or may not be a bad thing, but I read a frightening statistic that GPs make mistakes or misdiagnose something like 35% of the time. It doesn't hurt you once you've gotten a diagnosis, whatever it is, if you're concerned, to go on the net, go to one of the forums where people talk about these things and say, hey, this is the diagnosis I just released, or I just got. Are there any other questions I should be asking?
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I do that as well all the time. Because it's like getting a second opinion.
And yet you people won't share your salaries. What is up with you?
Ben, you'd be sending me a check if you found out what my salary was. You'd feel so bad. You'd be writing me a check at the end of the show here.
Oh gosh.
But no, crowdsourcing information is another thing that we've been doing, and artificial intelligence, if we're bringing it that way, it has access to all that kind of stuff, and just the amount of information that we can put out just as an average person, like your friend, he may not be using a smartphone or social media or anything like that, which a lot of people do use every day, but he's still probably generating as much data at stores, at shops, by driving his car in certain places.
And he's
still generating lots of data.
I'm sorry, we missed that. What was it, Marcel?
Oh, I said, and he's completely unaware of it. He may not realize that that's actually the case. I mean, you build a digital footprint. Every step you take, you're building a digital footprint, whether you know it or not. Every time, like you said, every time you go to the store, there's a camera running. You walk down the street, there are multiple cameras. I try not to get hung up about it. I work on the premise that everything I say and do is either public or could be easily. You
think that helps to make people responsible for their actions? I mean,
Yes and no. I think what it does as well, this is my hugely optimistic side here. And what I love about, I mean, one of the reasons I'm so passionate about Linux and open source is that it is a success story. I mean, it's a huge mass. I keep saying, Linux runs the world. It does. It's a huge success story, and it's a success story built on sharing information. You know, and holy cow, that's like the ultimate. That's the ultimate public good, and it has built the world that we live in. It's built the internet. It's built, all these lovely technologies. It's built Netflix. It's built all these things that we love and enjoy every day of our lives. It's built those smartphones that you've got in your hands. Holy cow! This is what being open. This is what sharing information can do for the world. Damn it!
And you're saying that myself, as the last person to edit the kernel, did this all by myself. Thank you. I will accept any award that you send me because I stand alone.
You can take to heart the idea that you're one of the people that's helped things out along the way.
Right.
We're a cooperative species, regardless of what fricking Ayn Rand said, way back when. She was a fruitcake anyway, and an awful person. Yes, I said it. There you go. Ayn Rand was an awful person and a fruitcake, and she collected welfare in her old age. But it's not every man for himself. Okay, it's not the lone man on the frontier. That's Hollywood. That's storybooks. What it's always been, what's made us the most successful species on the planet is that we're a cooperative species. We help each other out. We share information. The reason that your buddies didn't get eaten by the saber-toothed tiger is you pulled them aside and you said, "Hey, dude, like I was out that way yesterday, and I saw a saber-toothed tiger. You probably want to go that way instead." And it's like, "Thanks, dude." And next time he tells you where the saber-toothed tiger is, and we all managed to survive another day.
And the saber-toothed tiger starves because he doesn't get...
lost Craig. I'm silent. Ben, are you there?
Yeah.
We're here. I said the saber-toothed tiger then starves. He didn't get to eat that person.
Oh, there we go. I got you.
Exactly.
You disappeared for a second. I lost your voice.
Oh, we're here. All
right, good stuff. Anyway, saber-toothed tigers.
Yeah, and maybe it's a good time to take a break because we're at the bottom of the hour, so we're going to do that, and then we'll continue on. Yes, believe it or not, this is our all Linux show, and we're kind of all over the road, which is fine because it all kind of ties back to Linux anyhow. And Marcel Gagné continues with us. We're going to have another news tips bulletin review from Marty Winston coming up as well, and then we'll continue on with the rest of the program. You're listening to the Computer America Show. Ben, myself, Marcel will all be right back. Please stay with us. Hi, this is Craig Crossman, host of the Computer America Show. You have important meetings to schedule. Your company's getting ready for its IPO, and you're in charge of the PTA fundraiser this month. So how do you coordinate everyone to be available at the same time? Are you still using emails, phone calls, even text messages to schedule meetings with a group of people? How's that working out for you? Not so great, huh? It's a fact that every day, millions of people suffer from scheduling headaches. Well, with Doodle, scheduling meetings with a group of people is quick and easy. With Doodle, you can easily propose available times to each member. Each one checks off the times that they are available, and then you simply pick the time that works best for the group, all in an easy-to-read display that integrates with your existing calendar. Nothing could be more simple. Give Doodle a try for free, and like millions of Doodle users, you'll truly see how easy it is to find the perfect date and time for all your meetings. That's www.doodle.com. Looking for a best friend? Brother Wolf Animal Rescue has your best friend waiting just for you. The mission of Brother Wolf Animal Rescue is to help build a sustainable, no-kill community where no dogs or cats are ever killed for population control, where true euthanasia is reserved only for animals who are irremediably suffering, or for animals who are truly a threat to society and with no hope of rehabilitation. Brother Wolf staff and volunteers go door to door, neighborhood by neighborhood, to educate citizens about local resources available for at-risk pets and to help their families connect with those resources. Brother Wolf's community-based approach to no-kill helps keep family pets healthy, happy, and in their homes and out of the local shelter system in the first place. For more information or to make a tax-deductible donation to this wonderful 501c3 organization, visit their website at www.bwar.org. Help to realize Brother Wolf's vision when no animal is euthanized for lack of a home.
Who's a good boy?
Too bad there's no doctor to call when an election lasts more than 4 hours. Hi, Marty Winston with the News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America. This time, the XEO Psycho Audio Surround Headset. The old joke says that surround sound headphones only work if you have 5 ears, but XEO has a clever way around that in their Psycho Surround Headset. The headband has 5 small speakers in it, with the front, left, center, and right channels wave-guided forward, and the left and right rear channels backward. There's also a bass driver in each ear cup. The headset plugs into a companion box with an amplifier and controls, which in turn plugs into a system's analog surround jacks. Once set up, the result is indeed surround sound at a quality that gamers will appreciate. Bottom line, when it comes to 5.2 sound from a headset, the XEO Psycho has you surrounded. Marty Winston, News Tips Bulletin for Computer America.
When an election lasts longer than 4 hours. That's a good line. Okay, so welcome back to the Computer America Show. It is the second hour, and if this was Friday, we'd be giving away a lovely, lovely prize. But as it is Thursday...
Can I have a prize? I want a prize.
Yes, unfortunately, a day too soon. But for everyone else out there, and Marcel included, if you want to go to our website and enter the contest, just follow us on any social media, and we'll pick a lucky social media follower out of all of those. So, we are here with Marcel Gagné both hours. We're talking all about Linux, though I gotta admit, this has turned into more of discussion hour, but, that's very enjoyable, what we've been doing. So, yeah, we are...
I blame you, Ben.
Yeah. Oh, it is fun. But no, this is all about Linux and open source and that kind of thing. So I believe right when we left off, we were talking about digital footprints and that kind of thing. How do we wrap this back around to open source and Linux in general?
Well, I mean, it's easy to wrap back around because so much of in the end, it's all technology and access to technology. And because, as I am fond of saying, Linux is everywhere, and it's kind of hard to get away from that. But the idea that we have open access to technology, open access to the knowledge, and so forth is kind of the important part of it. And same thing goes for that digital footprint that you leave. It's good to know that it's not just you that's if you're going to be watched. What was that quote? The Sun Microsystems guy. You have no privacy. Get over it. Was it Joy? Was it Joy from Sun Microsystems who said that?
I don't remember that quote.
No,
oh, come on! Seriously?
No.
Seriously?
Are you sure you heard it? Maybe it was
You have no privacy. Get over it. All right, I'm going to give it to you right now. There we go. Scott McNeely. It was Scott McNeely told a group of reporters to enhance citizen privacy rather than just telling them to. Anyway, what he said was Sun Microsystem, Scott McNeely, right? Chief Executive Officer, blah, blah, blah. You have zero privacy anyway, Scott McNeely told a group of reporters. Get over it.
When did he say that?
When the heck was that? It was a while ago. When did he say that?
I think they've all come to learn
1999.
Yeah, wow.
January 1999.
16 years ago.
Yeah,
you have no privacy. Get over it.
If he truly believed that 16 years ago, imagine what's happened since then.
Yeah, but the thing is, he's right.
Everybody knows it now, but they didn't know it then. Now he was right. He was prophetic. Now they know.
But it's not just enough that he's right. Obviously, he's right, but it is, it behooves us all to not hide and think that, hey, we must protect our privacy at all costs. You know what? It's not coming back. It's like this whole thing about, people talking about manufacturing jobs. Okay, here we go with robots again. Most robots run Linux, by the way. But anyway, robots, people say, well, we have to be able to protect our manufacturing jobs. We have to be able to, take. You know what? They're not coming back.
But
Yeah.
it's just with all the lack of privacy that we don't, and all the surveillance, and everything, stuff still happens. I mean, we just had the attack on where the 14 people were killed. Nobody saw it coming until after it came. We still have incidents of this.
That's right. That's because we don't have the computer in person of interest.
Yeah. So there are still things that get by.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's obviously things are going to get by, and I mean, you're talking chaotic systems, so no matter what, I mean, things will just happen. And let's face it, every once in a while somebody just does something, and somebody doesn't telegraph that they're going to do something. And and when there's so much information, so many people, and in this case so many guns, and so many nuts, who's to tell the difference between somebody who's just a nut and somebody who's a dangerous nut? I mean, there's some people out there that are just nuts, and yes, people they just are. There's some people who are dangerous nuts. Well, how can you tell the difference between the two? I mean, anyway.
No, it really is true. I mean, they were talking about the Paris attacks that happened not too long ago, and
Yes.
and like they had people that were actively being investigated before that happened. But I mean, at the end of the day, you can't act on everything that you collect.
You can't, but if it wasn't, I must ask this question, and then we'll move on to a couple of other things, because I did actually want to cover a couple of other things, but I have to ask this question: Would it really be much worse? And this is me speaking from my open philosophy here. Would it really be much worse if people, if all these organizations and all these agencies weren't so freaking cloak and dagger, and and we were all more involved in what was going on around us, instead of making the idea that we're all being watched and there are cameras everywhere, and and our digital footprints and so forth, why don't we just get over the idea that, I know what you do in your bedroom. I know what you do. I know that you poop on the toilet like everybody else. This is no big deal, and nobody really cares about that stuff anyway. But there is a lot of information that people would care about, information that would be useful. And if we just got over the idea that, somehow this is, this deep private part of our lives that we don't want anybody to know about, maybe we'd have a better chance at catching these things before they happen. Surveillance is a fact.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's embrace it and take advantage of the information that's out there. And I don't know.
And then you talk about just how people are very resistant to getting rid of even the illusion of privacy, but that's definitely.
But it is an illusion, and I think that's why it's important for people to and I think that's why open information, open access to information, open access to anything is useful and important. All right. Let's can we do something else?
We can move on.
Yeah, we got about 20 minutes left. Yes.
I know. I'm looking at that, going, holy crap. Okay. As you know, I said there was a gadget that I was really interested in getting my hands on, and it was that little computer that I talked about. That's how we got down this rabbit hole in the first place. There's another one that I've been paying attention to lately. You've got an Android tablet. Well, Craig, I think, probably has one of those things. iPad. What's it called?
That's it. That one.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Anyway, he has an iPad probably, but I'm sure he probably has an Android tablet as well. Don't you, Craig? Admit it. Come on.
No, I don't.
One day Craig will come clean. He'll admit it. I've been an Android lover all along. I admit it. I admit it. Anyway, I love all technology. I just want to say that. Anyway, there's a company out there that is doing something that I think is really, really cool. Now, I mean, we have several Android tablets around the house here, and kids play a variety of games, and I've gotten totally hooked on certain types of I mean, I like world-building games like, sandbox games like Minecraft and Survival Craft. I mean, I spend time playing that by myself and with my kids as well, one of my kids in particular. And but the fact is, we've got a lot of Android tablets around, and Sally, my wife, has actually been her PC in the basement is starting to misbehave. She's got a laptop that she's had for 3 or 4 years. She doesn't use it an awful lot, but when she sits down at it and it does weird stuff like battery problems or video problems or whatever, it starts to drive her a little crazy. So she's sitting there going, okay, maybe I need another notebook. And she's been watching me carry around my Android notebook, and sorry, my Android, my Chromebook, and she's thinking that maybe that's the answer, except that she likes having a lot of that external storage. But of course, as I pointed out to her, just plug in an external drive, And in the house, we've got one 3 terabyte NAS and another 2 terabyte NAS. You know what? We got lots of storage.
Yeah.
Storage is not a problem. But because Android has become so prevalent, and we have so many devices running Android, and we play games on these things and so forth, and I like the idea of being able to put one down, pick up another one, and continue where I left off. I ran across this device and I'm going to have a tough time spelling. The name of the company is Jide, Jide, and if you go to jide.com, jide.com, they have something that they call Remix OS. And Remix OS is kind of fascinating. It's obviously Linux operating system, but which Android is. But what they've done is they've sort of mixed Linux and Android together so that you can run it on a PC. Now, obviously, Android really isn't built for a PC, or a notebook. It's actually, it's built for that touch screen and so forth. So they had to sort of play with it and decide what they were going to do with the mouse and, how they were going to integrate the keyboard into it and so forth. And there's something called Remix OS. Now, I'll hold this up to the screen. I was over at my local business store 3 or 4 months ago, and I got this. What does that look like to you?
A Lego.
Look like Legos.
Lego, except
USB.
It's a USB drive.
It's a USB drive. So, it's got a couple of Lego pieces. You can assemble it any way you like, or you can build it into something. Isn't that cool? Could you have walked by the checkout and not pick this up?
I was just out at CES, 3 weeks ago, and the amount of creative ways that they can get you to take a press kit that is on USB drives. One of our other correspondents picked up a USB drive that I'm not sure if you remember the Hot Wheels, but they had a USB drive that looked like a Formula One Hot Wheels car that snapped apart in the middle, but it was a fully functional Hot Wheels car.
By the way, I have an 8 and an 11-year-old. I know all about Hot Wheels.
Mm. Well, I don't know what you guys do up there in Canada. You might have, I thought
in Canada, our Hot Wheels are all snowmobiles. We have Hot Wheels snowmobiles.
Right.
Hot treads.
Oh, I like it. Hot treads. You know what? Craig,
Yes.
I see a massive business opportunity here. You, me, Ben, we're going to create hot treads. We're going to create little snowmobiles, hopped up snowmobiles. Come on, guys, get with me.
Yes, of course.
Sounds cool.
Exciting. This is the next thing. And you know what? We'll have little snap-on bodies. And you know what those snap-on bodies are going to be? They're going to be free plans that you can download off the hottreads.com website. Okay? Is there a Hot Treads? There's probably a Hot Treads already that makes boots or something. But anyway, so these Hot Treads, these little things, okay, are going to have little snap-on bodies that you can 3D print. Is that not going to be awesome in this massive world community of kids building stories? And there will be a tie. Okay, sorry.
I don't mean to burst anyone's bubble.
Yeah.
But I looked up Hot Treads. Someone already did it.
They're not little Hot Wheel motorcycles. They're not little Hot Wheels, the snowmobiles, are they?
They are.
No.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
Curse you!
I'm convinced it is impossible to come up with a unique idea in this world.
Damn you!
I know.
Hot Treads, damn you, Hot Treads! I hate you.
Hot Treads, died
what I
before
mean
it
about there's
became a
no
thing.
such thing as an original idea.
Maybe hot pontoons. How about that?
Doesn't ring well.
I got a hot pontoon.
Hot toboggan.
Sorry, what are we talking about on this show?
I don't know.
Oh man.
Oh.
The Remix Mini? Or,
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, Remix
yeah.
OS. So anyway, Remix OS has this cool little idea, and what I like about it is because increasingly I find myself heavily invested in the Android ecosystem. I spend a lot of time playing games there, but I also have a lot of real, if you'll pardon the expression, actual applications that I use. I mean, I was out. I was visiting a doctor, and I had created information on a Google Docs, and of course, I had access to the information all on my phone because it was available remotely. So, part of it is, access to the cloud ecosystem and so forth. But if you go to the Remix website, two things are interesting here. One of them is a little device called the Remix Mini, and it's a $99 computer. Here we go. With a little tiny computer. It's a little Android PC. It's $99. It looks like a black bar of soap, frankly.
It's round.
It's oval. It's like this little tiny thing that that can fit in the palm of your hand. Like I said, it's about the size of a bar of soap. If for the people that actually remember bars of soap as opposed to squeeze bottles of soap, but it's a really cool device, and it's another one of those. It's a 64-bit device, and Ethernet, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth 4.0, USB. I mean, it's got it all. And you just you plug in a monitor, you plug in a keyboard, and you've got an Android computer, and it's actually it's true Android in the sense that you have access to all the apps in the Android store. So all of a sudden, for those times when, I mean, one of the reasons I use a Chromebook as opposed to, just a tablet is because I like to have access to the keyboard. The keyboard makes it possible for me to work on a document, to write a document, to send out emails. I can do that a lot quicker typing than I can by, using the little screen keyboard. I find that a lot faster. And this is kind of the best of both worlds. Now, the reason I showed you my little Lego USB key here is I actually downloaded Remix OS onto this thing. So this thing has Remix OS burnt on it. And if you go to the website there, again, there's a download link that where you can actually download the operating system, and it comes with annoyingly, it comes with an exe file. Yeah. Because obviously they're going after the Windows marketplace, I suppose, more than the Linux marketplace at the moment. But in the Linux world, you can use your USB creator and burn it onto USB key, and then you can boot up your notebook in Android. And I think that is just incredibly cool.
Yeah.
I do. I think it's really, really cool. And because, now if I'm working away on my notebook, and I decide that I need to, log into my dominations game and see how my upgrades are doing. I can do that. Excuse me. My apologies.
There it is.
So yeah, I think it's really cool. There's a bunch of other devices, and if you go and you take a look out there under supported devices on the site, you'll see that they've got things like the Nexus 9 and Nexus 10 tablets and stuff like that. And of course, they have this Ultra tablet that you can buy there as well. I love this idea, and I kind of see that as kind of the eventual end product of all these things. I don't know that there's ever going to be an end product, but we increasingly expect the information that we have or the work that we're doing to be accessible to us no matter where we are. The original idea behind these little USB keys, if you remember, was that, hey, I have some important documents that I need to take home to work on.
Right.
And they were deadly expensive at the beginning. And I would copy them on here, and I would put them in my pocket, and I'd go home and I'd plug it in my computer at home, and then I could work on my document from home. But now with things like Dropbox and Google Drive and even the Microsoft one, help me out, what's it called? I think
Microsoft
OneDrive. OneDrive.
That's it, OneDrive.
Ha! I got it before the Windows guy.
You don't really need USB.
I don't use it. I'll be honest with you.
Oh, okay. All right. I use cloud storage all the time.
I use Dropbox. Is
yeah.
mine.
No. Well, I use multiple ones. I actually, as time goes on, I have to admit, Google is becoming my overlord in the sense that I use Google Drive far more than Dropbox, and at one time I used to use Dropbox a lot more than I did Google Drive. I'm just finding that the fact that there's Android and Linux everywhere. I mean, my Linux devices have one sync on it, or InSync rather on it, and I can access my Google Drive from any device.
We were waxing poetic about the dangers of technology. Imagine if Google just said, we're deleting all of our archives, just everything is gone, folks, and they just dissolved as a company. Pandemonium in the world.
How many times have I said on this show, and I've said it lots of times, I really, really hope that Google isn't evil.
Yeah. You have said that.
Yeah.
I know that's their motto, but I hope for all our sakes that Google is not evil, because, damn, have you seen those robot dogs of theirs?
Yeah. Mm.
Those things are scary. They had that... Boston Robotics, okay, at Christmas time, Boston Robotics did the most stupid thing you can possibly imagine. They didn't realize, they thought they were just showing cool stuff, okay? But they did this little video clip, Merry Christmas from Boston Robotics, or Boston Dynamics, sorry, Boston Dynamics. And they had this woman on a robot-pulled sleigh. She was dressed up in a Santa suit, and there were 3 of those robot dogs with antlers on them. You've seen the robot dogs,
yes,
right?
Yeah.
Pulling this thing, and it was creepy as all get out. It really was. Ben, go look for that. I know you have access to these things instantly, but it was really creepy. Look for creepy Google robot dogs. And I'm sure they just thought, oh, this is so cool. We'll share it with people. And then everybody just sort of went like, there it is. There it is. Ben's got it. Isn't that creepy?
Look at that.
Do we think this is the next evolution in vehicle transportation?
Isn't that spooky, though? Look at those things.
Oh, it's adorable.
Okay, all right. Jump. Looks like we got like 5 minutes left. I don't know what the heck has happened here.
Yeah.
All right, because I actually. Humble Bundle. You guys ever heard of Humble Bundle?
Yes.
You ever talked about it on the show?
We have. I doubt Craig remembers it, but a Humble Bundle is when developers and people like that put games up where you can donate a certain amount of money to to either the developers, to charity, or to the game company themselves, I think. Or there's some mix of you can donate to different causes, and they have different thresholds where you get more games, but it's a great way to get a lot of games for a little bit of donation, and it's just a great thing to keep track of.
Absolutely. In fact, sign up for the mailing list. You won't regret it. Humblebundle.com is the site, HUMBUNDLE.com. And Humble Bundle, I first ran across that one because, as a writer, frankly, as a writer and a reader, because Humble Bundle occasionally puts together collections of ebooks by writers. And these collections of ebooks, it's like, here's a way to support your favorite authors and so forth, and give to charity as well. What we'll do is we'll share half of it with the authors and half of it with a particular charity. And in fact, you can actually say which charity you want, which is really kind of cool. It's like, I'd like my money to go to this charity. So I think Humble Bundle is absolutely fantastic. So I like I said, I ran across it because of its support of independent, authors, and selling their ebooks, and that's how I first heard about it. And I signed up for the mailing list, and lo and behold, one of the emails that came in my mailbox was for some games, and I was, it's like, oh, I didn't know they did that, because I just sort of assumed the Humble Bundle was just like, books,
right?
Because that's the way that I ran across it. Now, So every once in a while they come up with a new bundle and I go and take a look at it. And in the case I'm going to bring it up so that I'm actually looking at it here. HUMB. I know that you've got it on the screen there, Ben. But on the show, I've talked about Steam every once in a while because, of course, I talk about a game that I'm playing under Linux, and often they're games on Steam because they're games that have been made available using the Steam engine, and some of the Linux distributions, some of the that I've covered here lately come pre-installed with, they have Steam pre-installed on it so that you're ready to sit down and start playing some games. The bundle this month, I think I mentioned that I've been getting into games where you're, civilization type building games, and Sid Meier's Civilization is obviously a big one, where you start out at a particular level. I'm playing Dominations. I love Dominations, by the way. I'm Jugdish, by the way, Jugdisch. If you're looking for me on Dominations, if you want to attack me, ha! Anyway. But I love the idea that you start at a particular level and you increase the level of your troops, you do research on stuff. It takes time for all that stuff. And yes, you can spend money, real honest to God money as opposed to, play money. But if you're patient, you can play all these games, like Dominations, like Clash of Clans or whatever, without spending a penny. I happen to like Dominations better than Clash of Clans because I love the realism aspect of it. I love the idea that you start in the Stone Age and you build up your technology and you move through the various ages. You move from the Stone Age to the Iron Age to the Classical Age to the Medieval Age to the Gunpowder Age and so forth. I'm currently in the Medieval Age, at the end of the Medieval Age, ready to move into the Gunpowder Age, by the way. But I love these types of games. I've gotten really hooked on that. I've been playing SimCity Build It. Which is a lot of fun. And the Humble Bundle that came through this month had some XCOM games, Enemy Unknown and stuff like that, but it also had Sid Meier's Civilization 3, Sid Meier's Civilization 5, Sid Meier's Starships.
Seconds.
Whoops. And they're cheap. They're cheap. If you go and you take a look on the actual Steam website, Civilization 5 costs $55 freaking dollars.
Yeah.
If you spend $10 here or $15, you get like 20 games or 15 games. You get them all for like $15.
No, it's $15 and you get over $200 worth of games.
It's amazing. I love this stuff. Humble Bundle. I mean.
60 seconds.
We're out of time. Marcel, listen, again, Humble Bundle. Thank you.
It's not free, but it's almost free.
All right. Hey, stay with us to the end. Thanks so much, Marcel, for being with us here on today's show. Coming up tomorrow, Friday's show, of course, we'll have a social media winner of the week, and also TCC Learning is going to be. We're going to talk about the Careers College, how to quickly get your dream job in the first hour, and then the second hour we're going to be talking to Akimbo Cards. Basically, create your own gift cards. Technology allows you to do that. Really great, and they'll be on the show tomorrow. So thank you all so much for being here, and Ben and I will see you here tomorrow, same time, same place. So until tomorrow afternoon, this is Craig Crossman, hoping that your hard disk never becomes floppy. See ya.
Have a good one, everyone.
I, for one, welcome our robot overlords.
Okay, just a second.
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.
Okay, again, thanks all for watching. Marcel, it's always a pleasure. It's a lot of we have a great time with you.
Yes, I will put it on my calendar for next month, I promise.
All right. See you tomorrow, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.